Good evening. Welcome to another episode of 758 Sports Talk. We had a very, very intriguing weekend in sports locally, regionally, and of course, internationally. Of course, originally we saw our West Indies women coming up against South Africa. Of course, the final series before the ICC Women's World Cup. And if you haven't been told, if you have not heard, you must be living under a rock. St. Lucia will host some games in the ICC Women's World Cup and at the Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds. Lots of festivities in store for you, not just cricket, Shansia, there's entertainment with the Denry segment, and our women will be defending their title, of course, right here in St. Lucia. So definitely looking forward to that. We'll have a discussion on that a little bit later on for you. Of course, that's what the main activity from the region, along with CPL. The final of a CPL 2018 was held at the Brian Lara Stadium last weekend, and of course we saw a very, very intriguing encounter between Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana. Guyana pretty much getting the better of Trinidad all through this season, just pretty much dominating, winning when they don't look like they are going to win. And I really thought on some level that they would have done it. I think the rest of the region really wanted Trinidad to go down as well, but that just wasn't to be. Trinidad did what they were supposed to do, and they are now champions of regional cricket, the CPL, for 2 years in a row now. All right, so to pretty much get a wrap up on the CPL 2018, I have a good friend of mine who is an absolute veteran when it comes to cricket analysis and sports commentary, Mr. Joseph Reds Pereira. I think we have him online. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
And your listeners?
Yes, okay. How you doing, sir? Everything is all right? I missed you for a little while.
I was just reading the top 11. Top 11. Well, I think it looks like just about the best 11, but there was a little query in my mind to Darren Bravo, because I think he was a little inconsistent. But I haven't been able to look at all the scores to make a final kind of decision. But all the people who were outstanding were named in that 11. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I have not seen it, actually. I've been so inundated with a lot of other things. I didn't even get to see. I have not been able to actually see the entire final. So, I mean, it's been crazy. Of course, Blackheart pretty much dominated the weekend in terms of my time spent there. But what did you think of this version of the Hero CPL?
Well, I think just every year you feel it was good, and there's that feeling by many, including myself, that this was maybe the best ever. It certainly had a lot of hype. There was a lot of flow of information. There was a changing of the guard in the top four constantly. You know, one day it was Knight Riders, the next day if the Amazon Warriors had played, they would be at the top. If, in fact, on the same day the Tallows had played, they would have rushed to the top. So it kept changing, but then it boiled down very quickly at the end to the last four, which was probably a little bit of an anticlimax, but the top four was the four that got there.
Yeah. So let's look at that final. Of course, Guyana taking on Trinidad. Guyana having pretty much having the better of Trinidad throughout the season. What were your thoughts about that final?
I thought that the Guyanese arrived there with a psychological advantage, but they arrived there 5 days before the final, and you know, they had to occupy themselves. As maybe sometimes not good to have that large a break, but I mean, most of them, all of them are professionals, and they have to take advantage of the break, work on things that they need to work on, have team meetings, and I suppose you know, it goes and comes. But I felt that at 78 for 2, Kenson, after 10 overs. They had recovered fairly well by losing Delport with the first ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a difficult delivery. It didn't swing and cut, keep low. It was an ordinary delivery that the left-hander went so hard at, boom, and he had lost his off stump. Hetmyer came in under a lot of pressure, huge atmosphere as you can imagine. His red left, right, and center with a little bit of the Guyanese support. Hetmyer seemed to have settled in quite nicely. Hit the leg spinner for 6, and then didn't use his feet at all. Played to a delivery far away from the body and was caught and slipped. But there was update for 2 with Runchi going well, and at that time they looked like they would have maybe got about 170. And then just about everything happened wrong. I mean, the batting was just so hurry up. You believe that they were in the 16th over the way they were pushing on, and lost some 6 wickets for 30 runs, and I think it was almost game over. And then some kind of saneness came in, and the tail managed to get it up to 147, but that was 30 runs short.
Absolutely. Chadwick Walton, we saw him having a very, very good season last year, and this year just not really turning on the screws like many of us thought he probably would have in terms of his play with the bat. We pretty much see him retire the diary of Keswick Williams, and then this year it just went all wrong.
Yes, I think he really wasn't putting together the scores at all, except one. And the Amazon Warriors moved him to the middle of the innings, but that didn't seem to help at all. In fact, he looked more lost in the middle than maybe opening.
Yeah,
and they could have used an all-rounder. They could have used somebody else who might have given them a bit more with the bat and also with the ball. But I mean, he was part of a middle order that eventually didn't quite produce, because Green, the captain, who started quite well, his batting went totally off. And I think there was that middle order softness in the underbelly.
Yeah. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about the development of the Guyanese game. Shimron Hetmyer, of course, and we see in Sheffield Rutherford, of course, 2 prospects to look out for, Reds, in the future for West Indies.
Yes, well, we had some idea of the ability of Hetmyer, and he simply confirmed that. Rutherford had shown his class in Canada with a magnificent 134, and he certainly looks to have the character and the power and the confidence. I thought Shepherd, when he finally got a game, and he really should have played in St. Lucia when the Warriors played here and in Barbados. He West Indies A players, and I think he's confirmed that he's got some talent. McCoy, Allen, Thomas certainly raised their heads. Kenson, there's a whole debate going on quietly. And I know you can add 1 or 2 more to that list. Hello?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm there. I'm
yeah.
there. All right.
There's a quiet debate going on about overseas players,
Yeah.
Whether the overseas players really earned their money, so to speak.
Yeah.
And some didn't, and some did. And there's a question of whether there should be a cap. I mean, this is a discussion, whether there should be a cap on the overseas players to allow more Caribbean players to play.
Well, personally, Reds, I think I've shared my views on that. I think a lot of the times we have players that are quite capable and ready to deal with the conditions, and they're better suited at certain matchups, and we sit down scratching our head wondering why they're not given a chance. The semi-finals, I was just baffled that Trinidad would have not played Carey Pierre. They played the pacer from Trinidad, but I mean, Pierre had a very good season, and he was not played in the semi-finals. Came back into the finals. And
very good question. I asked that today. Only Ian Bishop raised that question. I mean, there was mysterious. It was a mystery that Pierre didn't play against the Patriots. The Trinidad press never questioned it. I mean, I think you need journalists who are going to be able to say, hi, don't quite follow this. This is a prize, but there was no thing. But you know, Kenzo, if you look at the Trinidad structure, it is basically the overseas players, Trinidad players, and maybe only one Barbadian. You know,
So that's amazing.
You have a different situation there where they are not using a lot of Caribbean players themselves. I think you have the Barbadian all around. He's got a double barrel name. It just slips me right now.
I'm trying to remember, but not coming to mind right now.
Not coming to my mind right now.
But I mean, I think it's an interesting discussion to have in terms of the composition of teams and overseas players and their uses. But Trinidad seem to have found a formula that is winning. So that brings us to our home team, Reds, the St. Lucia Stars. Let's go through the draft. Like, what do we need to do differently next season to yield some different results?
Well, I think everyone feels that the team need a couple of names. A couple of names that are going to produce. But a lot depends on what happens at the draft, Kenson. You know, the draft is a bit of a chess match, and everybody is looking to protect some of their players, whilst they maybe also want to acquire players at the same time. And you know, it's something that virtually needs to be looked at now. You know, virtually needs whoever the management group, who leading with the technical side of it, whether the coach will be involved again next year, on the basis that he will be involved next year. I think that process has got to be started now. How can we make this team better? I think just looking back briefly, there were a couple of matches that they should have. I was at a game in Guyana with Pollard and Simmons going well, and they should have walked that home. Both of them got out within an over, and they fell short. The game in South Florida, you know, 10, 20 more runs could have made a huge difference at the end. So, second missed opportunity, and of course the one here, which we really don't want to remember because it is still a bit of a nightmare. Where we got 200 plus and lost.
Absolutely. All right, Red. So overall, your impressions of 2018. You're looking forward to 2019, the CPL season.
Well, I think there are some things that maybe the CPL management need to look at to improve, to improve the event and to ensure that Caribbean players benefit. One thing I would like to mention, and I think you will appreciate this, is that at the press conferences, you really need to have the captain and the coaches to really answer the question, because in some cases franchise is just sending two players who really don't have the authority to handle questions. They themselves might not be having the best of series, and I think the CPL's got to insist. For example, the St. Lucian coach Hodge never came to a press conference here. And I think that's fair comment, Getson.
We didn't have Pollard at any of the press conferences in St. Lucia either, and that was a bit disappointing as well. So.
And when you look at the NBA, I mean, all the stars at halftime at whatever time, they turn up to talk to a commentator. Whether it's James or it's Curry or it's who, right?
Definitely.
They don't say, I'm tired, I'm going to my locker room for a drink. They know they are contracted to talk to the media. If it's a minute and a half or two, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that is true. That is very, very true. Good observation, Reds. Of course, thank you so much for contributing to our show tonight. We really had to put a bow on this CPL season. As you said, one of the best that we've seen. Hopefully next year we get better results right here in St. Lucia.
And Kenson, the big disappointment was the standard of the umpiring.
Ah, yes, we didn't get to speak on that, but this year it was horrible. I was a bit disappointed as well that we would have a situation where in the final or the qualifier, we would have a situation where we have reviews available, but not much of that consideration given to preliminary rounds. I just find that a bit disappointing. It's okay to do it, better late than never. We could have that argument, but I think it's something that is required for the game right now.
Yes, I think it might be a question of cost. I'm told by Darren Ganger, I asked him specifically, he said that the review will cost $15,000 US a day.
Yeah, I was told.
So that's up to the CPL to see if they can afford it. Can they improve it? But they can't say they didn't get crowds. They got some huge crowds.
Yes, 20% increase for some of the information coming out from the COO. 20% increase in the crowd support this year. So, I mean, we really need a better product. I even found in terms of we are a nation, a region that has taken pride in terms of fast bowling. And our history is steeped in that. And we in a generation where we know the speed that a bowler is bowling based on the speedometer, the reading at the bottom. And we had none of that technology available for CPL 2018. That was a bit disappointing for me.
Yes, if to say we have the biggest party in town is one thing.
Yeah.
Let us say we have one of the best 2020s in the world, and the technology that goes with it is also very important.
Yeah, we don't. I have no idea if did O'Shane Thomas bowl a ball over 90 miles an hour. We could assume, but we don't have any of that evidence on any screen or anything. I thought that was disappointing too.
The wonderful worry point is about Paul. Paul has not played too many matches for the Amazon Warriors. He's carrying a little bit of injury.
Okay.
And I hope that's the reason why he was left out, that the West Indies cricket is maybe greater than playing in a CPL final.
Yeah.
But here's hoping that he's over it and that he'll be fully fit for the Tour of India.
All right. Thank you so much. We really have to leave it here. Thank you so much, Red, for your input.
Take care.
Invaluable. Thank you so much, man. Yes, thanks. All right. That was Joseph Reds Pereira, of course, a veteran commentator, of course, very knowledgeable in cricket and the development of that sport in the region. And you're talking about players such as Terence Hines, who did not get much of a showing in this CPL. And, of course, disappointing. Nikita Miller didn't get to see much of him as well for the Trinbago Knight Riders. So disappointing. Django, another one we did not see. But Knight Riders, champions, back-to-back. Something is going right there. They have invested they've won in every single aspect of the game. Batting, bowling, fielding. They've just been the better team. So congratulations to them. Of course, locally, we saw the culmination of the Black Hat Knockout Tournament this weekend. Highly anticipated. Of course, a lot of discussion on Black Hat 2018. This is the most of football. A lot of people have been saying Black Hat is just a knockout tournament. I don't think you could say that this year because they had so much of football going on. You had, of course, the Big 8 tournament. Then, from the Big 8 tournament, you had the zonal qualifiers, North, South, East, and West. And then you had the actual Big 8 tournament, and then on the weekend we saw the culmination, the beginning, of the Black Hat Knockout Tournament, the commencement of the Black Hat Knockout Tournament for 2018. Of course, St. Lucia Sports Online, DBS Sports, we were there to take in the pictures, and we'll definitely show you guys some of the highlights from the games. We showed you some of that during our sports package. But, of course, another stakeholder in sports here is definitely the fans that were all around enjoying football in the Mabia Valley. Of course, we took pictures for you guys, and we're going to show you guys what the atmosphere was at a jam-packed Mabia Valley playing field on the weekend.
Yeah,
Patrice again.
lyrical, gal, steal my heart like a criminal. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh God, oh God, oh God.
You roll up on me like you don't have a girl.
I'm a gal.
Trying to deep for wine, like a criminal.
No gal, I come here alone. I ain't breaking no code. No other gal in my soul. Yeah. Gal gimme. I go too far, wine like a criminal. No resistance, shot to be minimal. Lock you down and grind like a criminal, like a criminal, like a criminal. Stick it up and grind like a criminal. Man go face tough time for your physical. Lock you down and grind like a criminal, like a criminal, like a criminal.
You cannot tell nobody. This is between you and me. Keep the vibes that you're bringing on me.
Bring it away.
Hold me bumper, walk it on me. Keep the timing, chuck it on me. Hook me tight and walk it. Hold on to me like you don't have a girl.
No girl.
If that is a crime,
No crime.
I go face the time.
Face the time, face the time. Roll, girl, stay by my side. Yeah, come let we ride, like Bonnie and Clyde.
We feel like
Girl,
I could make you feel nice.
so nice.
We could jam all night. Oh, like your head nice.
Hey.
How you moving so high?
Yeah.
Take it down and go with the flow.
Hey, hey, girl, run the track, bend your back and run. Run for that, give me that one time. Give me that, girl, give me that, give me. Girl, you look so fat, belly flat and nice. Run for that, give me that one time. Give me that, girl, give me. Girl, I go too far, wine like a criminal. No resistance, charge to be minimal. Lock you down and wine like a criminal, like a criminal, like a criminal. Stick it up and wine like a criminal. Man go face tough time for your physical. Lock you down and wine like a criminal, like a criminal, like a criminal. Yeah, like a criminal. Yeah, Patrice and lyrical. Oh yeah, say I love you, girl. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You roll up on me like you don't have a girl.
Yeah.
Try to deep for wine like a criminal.
No girl, I come here alone. I ain't breaking no code. No other girl in no zone. Yeah,
If you wine and day, you cannot tell nobody. This is between you and me. Keep the vibes that you're bringing on me. Hold me bumper, walk it on me. Keep the timing, chuck it on me. Hook me tight and walk it on
Hey
me.
girl, run the track, bend your back and wine. Yeah, come for that, give me that one time. Yeah, give me that, girl, give me. Hey girl, you look so fine, belly flat and nice. Come for that, give me that one time. Give me that, girl, give me. Girl.
G6 Production.
Who savent ça par le bac à yad là? The way some of these ladies move their bumper, I swear it's an
Young
emergency.
Boss
Pass one thing,
Entertainment.
give me the siren. Woo, woo, woo. Bend that. Woo, woo, woo. Shake that. Woo, woo, woo. Go down my girl and woo, woo, woo. Bend that. Woo, woo, woo. Give me that. Woo, woo, woo. Shake that. Woo, woo, woo. And on your knees and woo, woo, woo. It's an emergency. Give me that urgently. You whining perfectly. Push me.
All right, said Lucia, and of course, the rest of the world. Just took in some pictures there of the opening weekend Black Hat 2018. Of course, a lot of discussion on the weekend about the whole festivities, the cost of the festivities. Of course, we know that for the very first time in Black Hat history, they actually in the Mabia Valley, and it is a confined area, and there's so much discussion on the cost of entry into the competition, and somebody actually won. While I was looking at the pictures, I was like, somebody won a trip to Barbados. That's not too shabby. You paid $15 and you won a trip to Barbados. Not bad at all. So congratulations to that winner, and congratulations to Mr. Christopher on a very, very successful opening weekend of Black Hat. Of course, on the second day, a lot of discussion ensued when it came to football, because we saw, but the story goes this way for me. I mean, walked into the mini stadium, according to David Chicks Christopher, in Larissus, and the national under-20s is playing against Masha. And of course, if anybody's been following me, they would have known that I put a power rankings out, and a lot of my analysis was Masha was ranked number 2, and a lot of the reasons why I ranked Masha number 2 and I did not have the under-20s was because I personally believe that Masha, from this year's competitions, they were going to get the better of the under-20s. And the reason I actually had Masha beating them was because of one guy, Andres Remy. And when I got to the stadium, so much discussion ongoing about the fact that Andres Remy was not part of the team, and the discussion started on the fact that the players who recently competed in the Nations League for St. Lucia, of course St. Lucia won 3-0, they were not allowed to. I'll put that in quotation because we get the information in a little bit. They were not allowed to, or they were not released to play for their community teams, and I just thought, I found that very quizzical. I was wondering what was the reason behind that, and I figured one of the things I could do, I heard pretty much the discussion on the field, and I figured St. Lucia, as a journalist bringing out the information, the best thing I could do is to get the president of the St. Lucia Football Association on sports, on 758 Sports Talk, to just have a discussion and understand what the rationale is behind that. And of course, tonight I have with me President of the St. Lucia Football Association, Mr. Lyndon Cooper, on the line. Good night, good evening, Mr. Cooper. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and good evening, Kenson, and good evening to your viewers and listeners.
Definitely, sir. And of course, right in the discussion, like I said, of course, a lot of discussion ongoing. The Black Hat 2018 has started. Just give us generally your thoughts on the proceedings from the last weekend, first and foremost.
I think the tournament is a well put together tournament, and I think it has a role to play in the overall development of football in St. Lucia.
All right, so definitely Mr. Cooper, Andres Remy, one of the players to look out for from Marshall last year. He played in the competition, and of course at the end of the competition, St. Lucia Sports Online put the Black Hat 11, and one of the first names on the paper without a shadow of a doubt was Andres Remy. He had some experience at the national youth level, and of course this year breaking into the senior team and performing very well over in Antigua. And of course a lot of persons were of the opinion that he would have been playing for Marshall opening day of the Black Hat, but that was not to be. What is the rationale behind the decision? What exactly is the decision, first and foremost, so that we can get the facts and why that decision was taken?
I have difficulty in trying to understand the line of questioning, because I do not think that there's a policy at the SLFA to prevent the individual that you have just named from playing for his district. I think what you need to show an appreciation for is the fact that there's an overall development plan at the SLFA, and one has to show an appreciation to the fact, Kenton, that we are returning a senior national team 2 years in advance, which is outside of the plan. The plan was to reintroduce them immediately after the old Olympic Gold. But with the introduction of the Nations League in 2018, we just thought that if we leave ourselves out of this nation, it's going to affect us and put us back at least 4 years. There's a policy at the SLFA where once you get onto the national team, in fact, once you play football in St. Lucia, the rules have indicated that you are subject to being called for national training, and by you accepting to play domestic football, you have accepted to do that. What we usually attempt to do is to call what we call a provisional squad of 45 individuals for our national selection. Now we know one playing team is on 35 players, so we direct coaches to attempt to pick your first 20 or your first 25 within the 2 weeks, so that you could go back and release those players. It is understood through regulations, local regulation, that once a player gets to that 45, he is automatically released by his district, and then you cannot assume that a player is on the 35, on the provisional list of 35, and he has not been released by his district. The understanding is, so what we do, we release back those players who did not make the 20 or the 25, depending on the numbers that the coach wants to select. Those go, assume he wants to go with the first 25. That 25 is put into another set of training. They have an additional 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the period of time before the first game. And then those additional players that appear not to have made the 20-man squad is actually released back to their respective districts, then we keep focus on the 20 players, and the 20 players are the players we think that are going to remain in the training program until the international engagement is completed. There is no assumption that a player who gets himself on the final 20 has a responsibility or we have an obligation to go and release any player simple because there are domestic tournaments. I think his acceptance of being under 20 is a clear indication that he wants to remain in the training program until the tournament that he has been asked to represent St. Lucia is completed. So I don't understand why there is any anticipation that the SLFA is going to release anybody who is in its first 20 or in its first 18. But saying that, Kenson, the player has a responsibility or choice to make the determination whether he wants to play for St. Lucia or not. And the SLFA is not prepared to accept the in and out or the billing of any player in any national setup simple because 2 or 3 of his fans won't want him to leave the national setup. It's a choice that he has to make. And if a player on the 18 or on the 20 decides that he wants to be released back to his district, he only makes the request.
All right, but the anticipation, the reason why at the end of the day we would have the anticipation that this individual would be released immediately after is because this is the trend we have seen pretty much globally, that with the Nations League we saw the likes of big names, playing for France for instance, and we saw Paul Pogba pretty much the week after playing in his Manchester United clothing. So you would expect that with this going on globally, that it would be no different for St. Lucia team, where you have individuals who played in the Nations League, did very well, they are not injured, and they are available to play for their community teams. In pretty much the premier sporting event in St. Lucia, the anticipation would be that these guys would get released to play immediately.
No, I think, Kenson, we're mixing up the issues. A player who is released by his club internationally is under international rules.
Okay.
On those FIFA dates, it is impossible for a country to make a request for a player and for the club to say no. If the club makes a determination that the player is not coming because they're not going to release their player, I am telling you, it's an international offense, and FIFA once reported is going to sanction that club severely. So that's not an option. But in our case, when the district released the player to the SLFA, the understanding is based on the rules that the player is within the national setup until the tournament is completed. We are in a Nations League with 3 more matches, 4 teams over a period of 6 months. Nobody should anticipate that your first 11 or your first 12, if those players are going to leave the national training setup, play a domestic competition, and then jump back into it. That is not a feasible option. If the player wants to no longer be part of the national setup, he just has to make the request to transfer back. You're saying to me that if we had Super League in the first quarter, we had Coca-Cola in the middle, and you have Black Cat at the end, and we are in the Nations League, we have to allow those players under local rules to go and play this competition. Where at what point in time that we are going to put the training structure together, Kenson? That must be madness.
All right, you see, I think what we have is a situation of chicken and egg from what we observe, what I would say we observe occurs internationally, because in terms of how things are occurring internationally, we see people playing in their club structures, and from the club structure we see them being called to national teams, and as you say, they make themselves available. And I don't think what obtains at the international level is those individuals given the option to play for either or to not be part of the training, because I mean, if you're not part of the training, you played for your community, you're no longer part of the training setup for the national team. So it comes across as you play for your community, you are from a Black Hat competition, other competitions are going on locally, and I refer again to what we see internationally going on, and we see a seamless return to local competitions in the respective communities, and so the expectation was that sort of thing to occur again, but we did not see that. And of course the discussion all around was why can that happen? And this was coupled with the fact that we had the youth team, the national youth team, under 20 team, again featuring in a local competition and being used to prepare for a competition which will occur in November. And a lot of discussion has been ongoing about that in terms of what do we leave for promoters of events, like David Shakes Christopher had that team progress to the latter rounds in terms of having a small fan base. What do you say to those concerns?
Two things, Kenson. One, I do think you have shown an appreciation to the fact that players are released for their countries under international rules 2 days before. They must return the day after. A player who does not go back to his club within the stipulated rules has breached his own internal contract with his club. That is a standard procedure. In our case, the player is released by the district for a national setup. We have 2 or 3 games play over a period of 6 months. Why would you think that it is automatic for a player to go back into that setup? Without he's been released, if the player wants to play, he has to make the request. But the SLFA, in its own judgment, is not going to allow the player to be released if he does not make the request. It's not going to work for us.
Okay, but the repercussions, but I think the fear is the repercussions of making that request. Because, okay, you request to play for your community team. What are the repercussions for, let's just say, Andres Remy, who we've spoken about, you know what?
Repercussions. The only fact is that if he is released back by the SLFA will have to make an additional request to release him again.
Okay. And then another player would be sought out to take his position.
Automatic entry.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show an appreciation to that. And then I'm not suggesting to you that there may not be merit in it, but I think that people just talking for talking's sake, because we have a situation with one of the players who does not even fit in that scenario. His scenario is a very simple one. He gets an international transfer to go overseas. He is transferred back to St. Lucia. He gets transferred out of the SLFA's window. It means under international rules and transfer, he remains there until the new window is open, but he's under pressure to play. How could he play if he plays? He's breaking international rules. Nobody cares. But if he plays and he gets 6 or 13-year ban, then you hear people saying, I did not know.
All right, Mr. Cooper. All right. Well, I guess we have a better appreciation for where the SLFA stands when it comes to that situation. Of course, I think for most of us, we would like to see the best, on show. Because for me, I want when Grosley defeats Viewfort South, that moving Coco Bellas and the rest of them don't say, oh, we had a depleted team because the guys were on national duties and Cooper didn't release them. That is the phrase. This is what you're going to get. And so I felt it necessary to ask those relevant questions going forward. But Mr. Cooper, thank you for taking the time off. Any last words on all this development and Black Hat?
Yeah, you see, Kenson, what we must not do as a country, and I think you need to, as a journalist, you know, a sportscaster, you need to resist the temptation to attempt to put a division or a doubt between Black Hat and the SLFA. There is no obligation on the SLFA's part, either local rules or international rules, for Black Hat to play, for we to sanction Black Hat. Every single player is allowed to play under rules of engagement. So once you begin to perpetuate a system where it's SLFA, Black Hat, SLFA, and Black Hat versus SLFA, it's not going to work to the benefit of the game.
Well, I don't think
wanna make that
any journalist would want to in any way have any accord between an organizer of a competition and the governing body of the competition. I think what we would want to see is for a level playing field in the competition. We would want a situation where you take out some of the best players from each of the communities, and you have a situation where you come across to watch a competition where you have a team that may very well win the competition, being a competition of a national team, from a setup where teams from the communities are weakened. So we do not want to have a situation where there is any rift, and I'm positive that there is none from all my information with conversations with Lisa Davis,
You know
Christopher.
what we may have to now one day decide. Once we have international engagement, we may just have to stop domestic competition until the international.
I disagree. I think there's a way for this thing to work. I disagree with having to go through that extreme. I think genuinely there's a way to make it work if we sit down at the table, and there's a way to make all of this thing work without having to necessarily stop a domestic competition because a national team is in training. I think it's something that can go on concurrently, and if we sit down and we brainstorm in terms of how exactly going forward we're going to do this, I think it's something that can happen seamlessly. That's just my opinion. It has happened before. All right, sir. But thank you so much for giving us a time. I think we understand clearly what has been going on. I think generally in terms of football, in terms of the competitions we've had, the preparation for national teams, I think things have been going. Okay, good. Okay, we seem to have just lost him there. All right, we need to take a break, St. Lucia. I mean, the conversation was really intriguing. It's something that we had to do tonight. But there's so much. We have my guests are in studio, and I'm really excited about that tonight. So we need to take a break, and we're going to take a Blue Waters break tonight. Of course, we've been talking about water, the importance of hydration over the last couple of months. We have not done this for a couple of weeks now, but I had a nice conversation today, and I figured, well, we're going to definitely do one today. We're going to look at the 7 benefits of cucumber water. I know a lot of you all see people these days chopping up cucumbers nicely and dropping it into water, and you wonder, why do people actually do that? And it's one of the exciting ways to keep your fluid intake exciting. You know, you don't want to have the humdrum sort of life where you're just drinking water. There are things you could do to actually maximize the benefits of drinking water, and the flavor is not too compromised that it becomes something that you do not want to do. But, you know, you want to add a little spice in your life, and cucumber water is one of the ways you could do that. You could buy a bottle, and you can, of course, chop it up as we're showing on screen right now, and you could we could just add your water to it cold, and it would be something that has a lot of benefits for you guys. For instance, one of the benefits of doing that is it helps in terms of delivering antioxidants into the body. There are 7 health benefits, as you've seen. One of them is that it actually helps with that, and those are I'll just read out for you. Antioxidants are substances that help prevent and delay cell damage, and so oxidative stress can lead to chronic conditions like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, eye degeneration. So research shows that cucumbers falls into those things that fight those actual diseases. It has vitamin C, beta carotene, manganese, and several flavonoids that actually help fight those diseases. Actually, it says that it helps prevent cancer. All right, and that is very interesting. Of course, we always advise you guys to speak to your doctors. Just ask and clarify all those benefits so you can get it for yourself. Lowers blood pressure, and anybody would tell you cucumbers are high in potassium, and of course, potassium helps the body fight high blood pressure. So just keeping the cucumbers in that water and drinking it would help in terms of lowering blood pressure. It helps support healthy skin. Cucumber water can help soothe your skin from inside out. Staying hydrated, and that's a fact. Staying hydrated helps your body to flush out toxins and maintain a healthy complexion. Cucumbers are also high in pantothenic acid, which has been used to treat acne. So just Weglo, drink some cucumber water, and it will help with soothing out your skin as well. And one of the last thing I'm going to touch on is actually it helps with weight loss. A lot of you guys are starting your programs. Cucumber waters is an excellent replacement for just a normal water because it actually helps to fight hunger. A lot of the times we feel that we actually hungry, we're actually just thirsty. And of course, cucumber water adds that added little weight to the beverage that that you're about to have the water, and consuming it could help you really control your hunger and stick to your diet. All right, so these are some of the tips you can get from drinking water, cucumber infused water, and of course we know my sponsor Blue Waters. I'd always advise when you're doing your cucumber water tomorrow, Blue Waters is the choice. People just take a nice ice cold. Some of us just like it lukewarm, room temperature. Just pour it in the cucumber and leave to go to the office, walk around and just sip all day long. It will help you guys. All right, that being said, we take a Blue Waters break. When we come back, we have so much more for you. Okay, so welcome back to 758 Sports Talk. We still have a lot to get into tonight. I have somebody on the line to pretty much put a bow on the Black Hat events of the weekend. I have on the line Mr. Tennyson Glasgow, of course, a avid follower of Black Hat football. In fact, all sports, tout bagay. Right, Mr. Glasgow, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. Everything.
Yeah, man, I know that.
Of course, you know, the passion is definitely football. And of course, me being aligned to Black Hat for several years now, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, so what did you think of opening weekend?
Good, very good. As a matter of fact, I saw a lot of technicalities in how teams wanted to play, what was the approach in terms of the fixtures before them. I think the first fixture we saw was Central Castries versus Roseau, and I think you guys alluded to it in another program, saying the setup of Castries team is always defensive, not playing expansive football, keeping the lines, keeping sure that the back is safe. So a glimpse of that as well, and they got through that fixture, 1-0.
I think Junior did that deliberately, you know. That Junior fella is something else, but
yeah, so again, like I mentioned, technicalities on what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and treating each fixture for what it is.
Yes. All right, I'll just let you know, as my partner, I had a different picture there for you to see. But tonight,
I'd appreciate your picture.
I think so. But tonight, this is the mainstay of what we're going to talk about later on. So I think that is apropos for now. Yes. So you spoke about Castries and Rose, and of course the second encounter on a Saturday night. Of course, Dennery pretty much coming out to show St. Lucia, hey, we have a Gilbert in our makeup. Last time we actually had a Gilbert, we won. The time before that, we won. The time before that, we won.
Yeah, I think they're riding on personally on past glories, and nothing is wrong with that. Of course, some teams or probably hierarchies of teams do use the motivational factors to get teams through. Yeah. And just having a little chat with Ali, who's a coach in the setup of the Dennery team, that is what they're happy on. They're happy on the glory days of Dennery, and they're trying to push that effort through to the Dennery team. That, hey, despite our setbacks in terms of playing fields, but if you believe in yourself, believe in the philosophy of the coaches, believe in the district, you guys can pull through. And indeed, it was a very good display by Dennery to blow off the opposition 3-0. Nothing more I enjoy to see when a team works hard and the reward is goals, and you see how everybody come together and celebrate. Absolutely. And if you look in the crowd as well, Kenzie, you'll see the joy it brings to the patrons of those districts. Because everybody can attest or align to somebody. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah. You just mentioned the Gilbert family, and the Gilbert family spread so wide.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about bringing joy to communities. And a disappointment that the other team got blown away. But this is what football is all about.
Yeah, of course, we have some of the goals we showed a while ago. I'm sure Junior going to show some of them again. Gilbert scoring a very good, composed, just touch over the goalkeeper, that first goal. But let's just talk a little bit about Ancillary, man. Last year, we saw Ancillary pretty much take Vieux-Fort South all the way to the end of that game. Of course, Vieux-Fort South came out victorious. And then this year, they seem to have just capitulated in the first game.
A year is 365 days.
Yeah, but
and you know what can go on within 365? A lot can happen. What we saw with the Ancillary team this time around is nothing of what took place last roster. A lot of those players have moved on. A lot of those players have lost interest in football. Of course, a lot of players too have gone other exploits.
Yes.
You see, there's always this contention with Ancillary. I don't know, but Ancillary is always a aggressive and sort of contentious group. They just can't get it right. Even when they won the Black Hat tournament the following year, boom, they were out of it. So it's an organization or a setup or a district which needs a lot of assistance. and assistance in terms of organizing themselves and having discipline very paramount.
Not
And
only-
until they can get through those two hurdles in terms of discipline, I don't see ancillary football going places, because I was
Yeah.
very taken aback, because last year I spoke highly of the ancillary team. I was looking forward to them, because the best game I saw last year was ancillary versus Vieux South.
Yeah.
And here I am. I know Mijal is off island. He's no longer in the setup, but somebody would have taken the mantle and you take that team to another level to what it was last year. But
Yeah.
again, discipline and the approach of this year and the preparation, and I could go on with so many things that I know of that have set them back. But they have a lot of work to do if they want to revisit the level they were at last year.
All right, fast forward Sunday, of course, the very first encounter, absolutely highly anticipated. The under-20 team coming up against Coca-Cola Island champs, and Marsha, of course, Marsha with so much to prove this year.
Yes, well, you know, I have my heart is in Marsha. Played for Marsha when I in my glory days.
Yeah.
I always have a soft spot for Marsha, but Marsha need to show me more metal. And when I use the word metal, they need to think a little more. And Marsha can play football. They're highly skillful in what they do, but there are times that you need to get away from what you can do to get past for a hurdle. We saw the under-20 team, which is a very good setup. Remember, the under-20 team is made up of the best under-20 players around the island. So
Yeah.
every boy in the player in the
Positions,
team
yeah.
is a top player. What they have to do is to get collectively to become a major force. That is not going to happen overnight. You don't put teams together. I mean, eventually it will work, but it's not going to happen that just yet. Again, we saw them take the lead against Marsha, and they were really up for it. A game we saw a lot of chances, good playing football, passes, running up the balls. Everything you wanted to see in this game, you saw it. You saw goal scoring, you saw poor defending, you saw glimpses of everything about a football game supposed to be. But at the end of it all, I think the Marshall team showed their worth in the penalty shootout. And the good thing about it too is that the goalkeeper from Marshall, he used to be a cricketer. I think he does athletics as well.
He
So
does everything, and he coaches.
there you go. But
Yeah.
I like Marshall, but that is a big team that they defeated. And keep in mind as well that the under-20 team defeated them in the Big Eight. So
Yeah.
definitely Marshall wanted to get back at them. So let's just leave it at Marshall wanted to get through the hurdle. But the next game for Marshall won't be as difficult as what they played against the under-20 team.
Yeah. So they're looking good this year. And
They're
team.
going to be all right.
Yeah, another team that I expected a little bit more from this year, Mabia Valley playing at home, they just really did not live up to expectations.
Mabia Valley is not the Mabia Valley of yesteryears. Of course, they have a remarkable record when it comes to Black Hat. We know of all the tournaments they have won. But they have dwindled a bit in terms of their quality. I think there's this rivalry between Oleon and Rovers, and we hear how good their league is and how well it's attended. But I would love to see, instead of hearing how good the league is, I want to see good players come out of the league. I want to see them pick the best of the best. You know, and that is the problem. And you know, because you could hate in the stands that a lot of the fans who watch the games, they speak of other players who could make that team.
And they're frustrated too, eh? A lot of frustration.
Exactly. I mean,
a lot
you know,
of frustration in the crowd.
and if your league is good, your team coming out of your league is supposed to be splendid. But I don't see that just yet. I still see them rushing into passes. I still see them not settle on the football. I still see them, when they lose the football, trying to get back immediately. Yes, you can do that, but you have to do that in an organized fashion. I don't see an out-and-out scorer on the Mabia team who's going to lead the charge.
They miss Bolo. They definitely miss Bolo. Elias Alfred is doing well. Mario Lendo is no longer there.
He's injured. And again, to be a top team, you need somebody up front who can score goals for you. And I don't see who's going to score goals for Mabia Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, if Beaufort North was probably better organized to a certain extent, they could have out Mabia Valley last night. But they got through the hurdle. But I don't think this time around Mabia Valley is a threat.
All right, okay, we really have to leave it there. But before we go, just to give you your impressions on Women's World Cup. Of course, you pose in with your watch this, which means you're really in support of women's cricket. I guess you will be one of the first individuals come November 10th when the doors of the Darren Zami opens.
Oh yes, indeed. I think it's a marquee event, not only for St. Lucia, but globally. I think it's a game which has transcended a lot in terms of the quality of cricket that the ladies possess. So it's an instance where we can not get to watch them on television, but be part of this whole ICC WT20. So definitely I'm going to be part of it. Like you said, it should be a spectacle, and definitely I'll be there.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Glasgow, for your input tonight. Of course, we'll continue that discussion very, very soon, man. Your power rankings and mine. We will talk about that. We have
Most
time.
definitely. I'll enjoy the rest of the show. You enjoy it as well.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. That was, of course, Mr. Tennyson Glasgow, one of the announcers at the Black Hat tournament for a number of years now. Avid sports lover, of course, very opinionated. Of course, nicknamed the critic for a reason. So, very opinionated. So, very, very happy to get his take on the opening weekend of Black Hat. All right. So, we're going to just go straight into our sports class moment. I'm pretty sure David Shix Christopher and of course some of the other guys in the boxing fraternity would appreciate this look back tonight of actual classic night. 1986 is the year. In 1986, I was 2 years old, right? Very, very young. So, I mean, I had to pretty much search for this video for you guys. Avid boxers in that fraternity would absolutely have been nostalgic at this sports class moment. Let's take a look.
Both of you. Now, listen. If you get in close, when I tell you to break your stop punching and step back clean. Any question from the challenger or chief second? Any question from the champion or chief second? All right, let's get it on. Come on.
All right, and with the words of Mills Lane, we're ready. I don't know about you folks, but here at the Hilton Hotel, there is electricity in the crowd. I've got goosebumps. On the line, the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Trevor Berbick will try to stop Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has trained his whole life for this. Look at him, Tyson to the right of your screen, Berbick in the corner to your left. We're just about ready for round one, and let's watch how quick Tyson will jump on Trevor Berbick. His whole life has been for this night, but Trevor wants to prove that he's one of the great champions. Let's see how long his reign lasts. Mike Tyson kind of feeling him out here, but he goes with that right-hand lead right away. You get the idea now that Berbick is showing a little false bravado here. Standing toe-to-toe is not the way. If he doesn't pump that jab in the face, Tyson will come right through him. Tyson with the left, bounces it off the forehead of Trevor. Trevor tries to work underneath. Tyson will have no part of it. Notice the movement of the head of Mike Tyson as he takes a light left jab. Tyson will be able to get underneath it. Oh, wow! With a right, another left hook that just raises. Trevor, with this bravado, could get in some big trouble in a hurry. He's taking big chances with Tyson, not feeling him out at all. This early going in round one, a lot better than we thought it might be. Trevor came to fight. But this is exactly what Tyson likes. Notice that Berbick is standing directly in front of him. That is, a left hook that really caught him. That is disaster for all of the opponents of Mike Tyson. He's standing flat-footed right in front of him, and he's going to get clipped. Believe me, folks, he's going down. You can't fight Tyson this way. It's great that he has the courage, but this is a poor fight plan. Oh, the right hand gets him behind the left ear. Berbick tries to push him off. Not the way to keep him up. Notice the lazy left. Watch Tyson load up with left and rights. He knows that he can score now. Mike Tyson to the right of your screen, shorter, heavier, younger, and bolder than Trevor Berbick. Berbick has felt the wrath of the right and the left hands of Mike Tyson in what just in round one. Tyson clips him with a light left that time. You get the idea that Mike, as soon as, a light right hand, but the left hook right there. Notice Tyson throws him in twos and threes. Trevor is getting lazy with the left hand. Notice the left hand is not pumping like it was against Pinklin Thomas when he won the title. That's a fear factor. He's away from his bravado in the early going of this round. Tyson having a good first round. Wow, with the uppercut, misses the left hook. Tyson is in total command in his head. He knows he can beat this guy right now. Notice Trevor not doing anything right now. He doesn't want to be in here with Tyson. He needs to use his 7 inches in reach, and you can't use it when you're head-to-head like this. Now the left should be pumping. Instead, Tyson will walk right through it. See this? Tyson walking right through. He's wild with the left hook as Berbick, and Tyson clips him with the left hand. Look at this. Combination. And Berbick ready to go, but he stays on his feet. Another right hand clips him. He can't take shots like this very long. Wow with the right hand is Mike. Again, he's blocked. catches him with a left hook. Trevor's ready to go again. Tyson knows that he can score at will now. Berbick doing nothing like he did against Pigland Thomas. Fighting in the wrong position. Not using the jab of the bell ends. Round one. A good round one for Mike Tyson. Well, at least Berbick didn't go down in the first round, but he's been staggered. Let's listen into the corner. Make no mistake, Tyson is in command. This may not go very long because he's got tremendous confidence now. Tyson already off his stool. Here's Trevor Berbick. This is round two. The WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Trevor Berbick and Mike Tyson. Tyson goes to work right away, and he's got Trevor in trouble, and he's down. He'll have to take the standing 8 count as he steps right up the counts to 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and he says he's okay. Mills Lane lets them continue. Here comes Tyson again. He knows he can hurt him anytime. Left hook, right hand. Again, Trevor hanging on. But this is a defensive mode now. Trevor not trying to do anything offensively. Tyson has him under control. Left hook light. Watch for the uppercut. There it is. Didn't land, but he has the idea. Wow, with the right hand is Mike. Mike throwing caution to the wind. He's in total command in this fight right now. We're only in round 2, and the heavyweight champ already reeling is Trevor Berbick. You know, Mike Tyson gets fined $5,000 for wearing black trunks. He is the challenger here tonight, believe it or not. He looks like the champion right now, and it may not be too long before he wears that belt. Wild on the break, and Mills Lane warns Trevor about it. Trevor trying to do all he can, but what he's not doing is holding off Mike with the left. And you see the light left hook by Mike in the right hand. Mike knows he can hurt him. He had him down once in this round, wants to drop him again in a hurry. Usually what Tyson does is take that little dip, come with the uppercut, and really bang to the body, underneath the heart, or crush the right side of the rib cage. Instead, he goes to the body downstairs, catches him with the right hand upstairs. 2 good rights in there. Caught in a bit of a camera switch there, and another right hand landed. See Mike just pawing. He's trying to line up that right hand, and he'll be right behind it with a left hook. Mike doesn't throw just one punch. When he gets a guy in real trouble, he usually knows how to finish. Look at these shots. All landing to the head of Trevor Berbick. It's just a matter of time before Mike gets the clean shot. Berbick hanging on like Mitch Green did. Bone Crusher Smith. Straight jab by Mike Tyson. 20 years old, Mike Tyson on his way to becoming one of the youngest heavyweight champions of all time. Bangs the body. Wow, with that uppercut is Tyson. Catches him with a right left hook, and he goes down. He goes down. He should be able to get up from this. His legs may be shut. They are. As Trevor Berbick falls back in the ropes. I don't know if he's going to be able to continue. He's got the heart, but his body won't let him do what his mind wants to. And he's counted out. It'll be scored as a knockout. Mills Lane counted him out to 10. It's all over. We've got a brand new heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson. Well, Trevor Berbick was brave in the early going of round 1. Tyson, let's watch the finishing blow. Crushing right hand. Wow, with a left hook, then a right hand right in the temporal bone, and he's in trouble here. He reels backwards. That's the very first knockdown of the fight, and he's able to get back up, and you saw the punches that landed. He misses that uppercut, but notice it's all Tyson. Berbick doing nothing offensively, and he crashes down.
All right, Mike Tyson. This is where it all began. I mean, nice and young. I mean, the whole world before him winning that boxing match. Of course, very, very exciting. Of course, like I said, I was pretty young, but I saw it later on and figured tonight we would feature that just to bring you guys back to how it all began for Mr. Mike Tyson. Of course, tonight, I don't know, we got, yes, tonight, of course, as you can see tonight, we watching this. We're just asking all of you to watch this. Our women, they are coming to St. Lucia, West Indies women. They will be featured in the World Cup. And this year, we will get some of that action at the Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds. And of course, we thought it only fit to bring in legends. Of course, legends from our midst. We had a lot of the youngsters don't know that. We had a captain of West Indies for a number of years, West Indies women from St. Lucia. And of course, we've had 8 8 of them break into the West Indies team, and so that's pretty impressive for a small island. We've been doing very, very well. To my immediate right, I have with me Mrs. Carol Wilby Maxwell, of course, administrator when it comes to West Indies cricket and women cricket, and she's with us tonight. And to her right, former West Indies captain, all-rounder, Tutbag. I remember growing up very young, playing under 15 cricket, watching her, and the others, of course, the others like Virginia Gregg during that time, but she was the leader, she was the captain, and that's Miss Verena Felicien. Good evening, ladies. It's so nice to have you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so Mr. Maxwell, tell us a little bit about your involvement in cricket, just for those of you St. Lucians who do not know much about you, how you got involved in cricket, and of course your involvement in this year's Cricket World Cup.
Just a correction, a while ago you said a captain when you spoke about of the West Indies ladies cricket team. Well, we had two. We had Verena and we had Nadine George. Right, so
well, I was talking about
it
her,
just
so
adds more to the flavor of what you're talking about, a small island producing that level of personnel.
Absolutely.
Right, so I'm just building that up, make it bigger, you know,
problem,
right.
We've done well.
Yes, very well, very well.
You, of course, all the way at the helm of the administration of West Indies women cricket, of course.
Yes, well, it started out actually in Jamaica. As you know, I'm from Jamaica, and I started out with the Jamaica Women's Cricket Association as the PRO. For years, I worked as the PRO, and then in 1990, they had the regional tournament here in St. Lucia, and I was asked to manage the Jamaica women's cricket team.
Wow.
So that was how I came to St. Lucia. So I came to St. Lucia, fell in love with St. Lucia, fell in love with other persons and things, Verena.
Nice, you know.
All right. I tell you, St. Lucia is one lovely island, you know, Kenzo, right? So having fallen in love with all the other things, I came back in 1991. And here I am ever since 1991. So with the knowledge base of the women's cricket coming from Jamaica, I just gravitated towards the St. Lucia Women's Cricket Association, and I became the PRO. And I was PRO on the board for many, many years. During the PRO on the women's cricket, the St. Lucia National Women's Cricket Association, I also served as PRO on it was the Caribbean Women's Cricket Federation at the time, which was changed to West Indies Women, and I continued as PRO from the Caribbean Women's Cricket Federation to the West Indies Women's Cricket Federation. And so I did the PRO work for many, many years on both of those organizations. And in 2000, I was appointed the president of the West Indies Women's Cricket Federation. I took over from Mrs. Jacinta Ogis. Right. And so, you know, the progress went on, you know, from there up to 2008 when the merger took place on the what's our past president from St. Lucia, St. Lucia, Dr. Julian Hunt. Dr. Julian Hunt, right. The merger, you know, it was mandated by the ICC that women's and men's body should be merged. And so that took place in 2008. So that was the end of my tenure as president of West Indies Women's Cricket Federation.
So how would you describe that tenure for you?
Exciting. A lot of hard work, difficult sleepless nights. I mean, but overall, when you saw what we accomplished over those years, as you rightly mentioned earlier, at one point in time, St. Lucia had up to 9 selectees on the West Indies team. St. Lucia, having come from the beating stick, St. Lucia national team, having come from the underdogs, the beating stick of all the Caribbean islands, to the team that had to be beaten in how many years, Verena? Many, many years. St. Lucia.
1998.
Exactly. St. Lucia was...
2003.
That's correct. St. Lucia was winning regional tournament, having come from... And I gave this little story, and let me quickly give it. When I saw St. Lucia in Jamaica in 1989, When I saw the team, Kenson, I remember saying to somebody, St. Lucians must love cricket to send a team like that to represent. Because they got licks from all the teams. And I remember Mrs. Jacinta Ogis, who was the manager. Mr. Arthur will never forget him, that the work he has done with the women's team. Mrs. Ogis made a statement. She said, St. Lucia is the beating stick of everybody now. But in the not too distant future, they will be a force to be reckoned with. And her words were so profound. St. Lucia just started licking people left, right, and center. And St. Lucia just continued right through for many, many years. So those years were good years, Kenson. We had, I remember having 3 tournaments running every year, Verena. We had a youth team, under 16 and under 23. We had the knockout and the league tournaments. It was hard work. It was getting the funds was hard because at that time cricket was not recognized that it is now. So you had to be out there. I mean, I was in the media like every day. They was calling me the begging president because I was all over the world. Verena can attest to that. I was doing everything everywhere. But we made sure that every single year there was a regional tournament held in one of the different islands. And we had both the league and the knockout, and we had a youth team. So I can say for those years, as challenging as they were, but they were very fruitful and memorable for all of us who had a part to play in West Indies cricket.
Of course, Verena, your experience coming up, just let's get that story, because I've never gotten that story. How did you get involved in cricket so much so that you went on to be captain of the West Indies team from, I think it was 1990 to 2005?
1998 to 2003.
2003. That's an extended period.
Well, we started in Tirushe. At the time we started, it was underarm cricket.
Okay.
We started playing with Elizabeth Williams'
To Tibet.
team, and stuff like that. And then when we visited Trinidad in 1987, 87, yes, and we decided to form a team, and we traveled to Trinidad. Of course, Carol has told you what happened to us. However, it didn't deter us. We continued training hard. We formed different teams in the different communities. And so at one point, after my niece died, Patsy, in 1996, we had 13 teams.
Wow.
13 record of 13 teams in St. Lucia.
Wow.
Participated in the tournament. It drew, a lot of people to the game of cricket, and we continued, and it was really in 1998 I was selected captain of the St. Lucia team at that time, and as well as captain of the West Indies after the tournament, the 1998 tournament. We started winning from 1998.
Okay.
Yeah, we won the double championship, and we won throughout the 5 years.
Absolutely. So
we captured the team.
Yes.
We had the major players on the team.
On the West Indies team.
Absolutely. The composition of that team was St. Lucian. For sure.
Yes.
Really good stuff. So, Verena, for you, pretty much being in that game for that extended period and seeing the likes of Kiana, Joseph, coming out the age of 16 to get into the West Indies team, what is the conversation like with her? What do you think about her progression as a young St. Lucian?
I think she's a very, very excellent player. But what we would like to encourage for her to stay focused, on the game. Do not allow, anything to detract her. And I believe if she continue on that trend, she will be
for
force
sure.
to reckon with.
And Carol, for you?
Because she's a good bowler. She's a great bat. She bats very well.
Yeah.
And so she's an all-rounder. And she's a wonderful
fielder. She feels very well.
So she's all-rounded, So I believe that goes well for her. She's very young. She's agile. And she should just keep focused. And we should just encourage her to continue and stay focused.
Yes.
I
just think she's an excellent player. And as Verena says, when the young children come into the team, and because of my experience also as manager of the West Indies teams, 1997. I started out 1997 up to 2008, on and off, right.
The first World Cup.
Right, first World Cup in India, 1997. Verena, Eugenia, and Rosalind Emmanuel were the ones from St. Lucia that was on that team to India. When you have young players coming into the team, you know, the persons that are responsible, you know, has a responsibility to make sure that they're taken under the wings, for want of a better expression or want of a better term, because they come into an environment where, you know, they see persons who are seasoned in there, and they figure, okay, well, I just get into the action or just get it. No, but it's not like that. It's about guidance. And like Verena said, have her focus, but she needs to be guided as to how she stays focused. And I think that is all that we need to do, and the personnel within there need to do, is just to guide her along the way and let her keep the focus. And if she does, I can tell you, she'll be a staple on that West Indies team for a very long time.
Yeah, but she has with her the manager, who is Eugenia Gregg, so which is a good example, you know, and I think she will do a good job.
Definitely.
Right.
I can't wait to have Eugenia on set here as well, very, very soon.
Yes.
All right, so we do for a break. We'll take our final break, and then we'll open the phone lines for you guys to call in and ask any questions that you'll want to. We'll take our final break. We'll be right back. Right, so welcome back to 758 Sports Talk, and we're having a discussion now on the upcoming Cricket World Cup, ICC Cricket World Cup, Women's World Cup. Of course, I just got a message there that just kind of threw me off for a little bit, but I'm going to ask my guest that question a little bit. 4519788 is the number to call for any questions or to contribute to our discussion tonight. Somebody asked, so what's the reason for the downfall of St. Lucian women cricketers on the West Indies team? How we moved from having 9, or how we moved from the World Cup where we had 3 to now having 1? What do you think actually caused that? Because I mean, 13 teams, that was an era where we probably should have capitalized on and kept that thing going. What do you guys think actually happened?
Oh boy.
That's actually a very good question. When I saw the question,
it
kind of
is
shook
an
me like,
excellent question.
That is true.
It is an excellent.
We're in an era now where we have the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground, so we have, we have a platform to showcase what we have, and then we like, probably what 6 teams? South Castries, Grosley Woodfield a team, Central Mayfield a team, and a couple of other teams. What has actually gone on during that time? But I see Madam Felicia still thinking.
I think the urge we had for the game and the love for the game, I don't think it is the same with the new players now.
Wow.
Now, at the time we played, there was no incentives, there was no
money.
There was nothing.
We had to raise funds, we had to do everything on our own.
There was nothing.
Practically, people used to chase us and tell us go and cook food for our children.
Yes,
whatever.
exactly.
And, everything is on the platter, and the interest is just not there.
Wow,
but let me just add something here. In the past, and Verena, I can attest to that. I'm saying this because I want persons to understand the sacrifices that were made for these young players now who are on the West Indies team to be where they are. And some of them have been on there for a very long time. But Verena can attest to the fact that when we were going overseas to participate in tournaments, the gears bag used to be the pillow that we use in the airport for our heads, because we never had money to pay to stay in a hotel for a night.
Wow.
So we had to sleep on the benches in the hotel. And now, and now when you look at what these players are getting, and if you want to say the desire or the urge or whatever is no longer there, I wonder if it is, or the emphasis that is paid to our male counterpart, the same emphasis is not put towards women's cricket from the powers that be. And I would want to lean towards that more than anything else, because women's cricket has deteriorated in all of the Caribbean islands. So St. Lucia, I'm not making an excuse for St. Lucia, but they're just one of the many that are going through a lot of difficulties. But with the rise and with women's cricket now being at the level it is, the powers that be are seeing that women's cricket now is the way to go based on what we're experiencing all over the world. So I really hope and pray that they will recognize that whatever the plans and programs are that are in place for the male counterpart, that the same emphasis should be placed on women's cricket. Because if we have a defending champion right now in the West Indies ladies, and our cricket in the region is going down, where is the nursery from which we are going to draw our future players to keep this momentum going?
Yeah. Very good, very good.
Right.
All right, so somebody says, by the way, St. Lucia, November 10th is the date where things start up in St. Lucia. All right, somebody says, a legend, Miss Felicien, how things skipper. Good stuff, definitely watch this. All right, so that's one of the contributions coming in tonight. Somebody says it's not just women cricket, but all female sports pretty much on the decline in St. Lucia for some reason. Something has to be done about that for sure. All right. There's some other messages there. Somebody says definitely watch this, and of course we had some pictures of people with the bats, I guess, that will be flashing through for a little bit. So, talk to us. ICC Women's World Cup, how excited are you guys? What's on the program, or what can St. Lucians expect this time around?
I'm extremely excited. I'm very happy to know that St. Lucia was one of the countries that was, selected to host some of these games, and especially because we are the defending champions this year. And, I am looking forward to great performances from our West Indies team. I am looking forward to us defending and raising that trophy here in the Caribbean this year. That is what I'm looking forward to. And I know that if we can get persons coming out to these games, I mean, when we look at the CPL that just went, Kenson, we want to ride on the back of that, We want to ask St. Lucians to ride on the back of that and come out in their numbers to support the ladies. Because as the Trinidad team usually says, Bravo always said, the persons in the stands are what? It's 12 men. So once you have that crowd behind you there, it gives you a lift to perform. So, I just want to appeal to person. You're talking to Tennis a while ago, and I'm sorry I didn't hear him, and you were telling him about coming. But I want to tell him, about his cricketers. And not his cricketers, about his footballers. I'm calling on him. I'm calling on Sheikhs, all of those, Mr. Malik, and all of those who are in football. And I know they know how to rally their ground troops and bring them out to the games.
Definitely.
Because we go and we watch and we support. So we are looking for these guys to come out and support the ladies, man.
Definitely. We saw David Shakes Christopher pretty much lending support to this, because he allowed for, Usher and Rankin Morgan to come to the field and, take all those beautiful pictures, use his fan base. And
that's right.
He said that he was all for it. That's right. The second it came up, it was like, Kenson, just bring it on.
Yes, man.
Supportive.
Yes,
I can tell you for sure, he's one person that is all in support. He loves his cricket for sure.
Great.
He loves Guyana. That's why we had to give him a plug here.
Yes, and as you talk about Guyana, and let me quickly say this as you talk about Guyana. We have on this West Indies ladies team players from all over the Caribbean. And we have all of those Caribbean communities here in St. Lucia. I want them to rally those community. I know I rally in my Jamaica community. And I'm telling them, wear the West Indies shirt, but bring your Jamaican flag. Because let me tell you what about that, Kenson. You see, when those girls are on the field, and I can tell you that from experience, when they're on the field and they look up in those stands, and they see their flags up there, the Guyana flag, the Jamaica flag, the Barbados, the Trinity Posse, they coming down because they always support cricket. When they see those flags, it gives them that lift, it gives them that urge, it gives them that feel that our people are there. So we don't want to disappoint our people, so they're gonna come out and they're gonna. So I just want to encourage those communities, in all of them that has players on the West Indies, and even if they don't have, come out and support, but bring your flags, but wear your West Indies colors to support.
Considering the efforts that have been made by the organizers and people of St. Lucia, as well as all other stakeholders, I am confident that St. Lucia is well on the way, to host the best cricket action.
Definitely, and you're a cricket fan, so I was going to ask you in terms of the other teams. Of course, I definitely have some of the other teams that I'm looking forward to seeing. Any other cricketers around the world that are not necessarily West Indian that you follow and I think are just really awesome players, or is it for you just the makeup of our West Indies team that you really follow?
Well, I concentrate more on our players, but there are other players that are very good, and the Australians are very good.
English team is a very good team.
My focus is on our
players.
team.
All right, we have a caller. Good evening, you're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, Terence. Good evening, Kenson.
I know you want to be good for the rest of Black Idea. What's up, man? You have to answer the call. What's up?
You're looking for a problem with me. You have my two girls there with you. And I don't like that, man.
That's your backer. I have your backer tonight, boss.
Yeah, well, I really want to lend out my support towards Watch This. You have to link up and watch this.
Yeah, man. Now we go for the weekend.
Go for the weekend. We want to see link up and watch this right around the island. We're going to want to continue the same promotion in Viewfort. So we're going to bring it back up to the Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds and let persons come and feel the vibes. You can win different things. We'll come up with something where you can win some Black Heart t-shirts or tickets for watching this.
Yeah, man.
Because we got to get everybody to watch this. So,
yes, man.
We're going to support Watch This. Black Heart is being Watch This. And I think we can come together as organizers of events and to just come together and collaborate and make sure we deliver good quality event in St. Lucia. So I want to show my support behind Watch This, and Black Heart going to link up and we're going to continue watching this.
Yeah, man, I must say, Shakes, man, hats off, because I mean the question was asked and I don't think I finished asking the question. You say, Kenson, what, man? Come, bring the bat.
Kenson, it's a no-brainer, man. It's a no-brainer.
Yes.
Bring it on.
So, let the girls enjoy the evening. We're going to speak more on Black Heart. The train is steaming up in the valley.
I was going to ask, man.
After this Wednesday, we're going to be moving down to the south.
Yeah,
so
man.
people in the south, just get yourself ready and come on, link up and watch this, man.
Yes, man.
Definitely. Good vibe.
Yes, man.
Thank you, Shakes, man. Of course,
love you. Have a good night,
man. Congratulations, man. Congratulations on a very successful weekend, man. This opening weekend has been the biggest I've seen for Black Heart. So you're doing something right, and of course you're blessed because you support initiatives like that. We as men have to stand behind our women, and I appreciate you doing that for sure. All right, we have another caller. Good evening. You're live.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mrs. Maxwell.
Good evening.
And a special good evening to Verena.
Thank you. Good evening.
Out of that. I'm kind of happy to see stalwarts still involved in the development of cricket.
Mr. Bellas.
Yes.
Oh.
Not me that
Mr. Bellas.
Extremely happy that they are getting involved. I am just hoping that is not going to be the last time before November that they come and give that tournament a push.
Yeah.
Because I think we need all the support that we need.
Yeah.
Let's, as much as we can do, let's try to rally around the whole nation and bring them together to give that kind of tournament the kind of support that it deserves.
Definitely.
So I'm happy to see that they are involved, and I wish them well.
And $10, Mr. Bellas. What was your reaction when you heard that price? Talk to me.
$10?
Yeah, to enter. All stands for...
But I just finesse thing.
That's finesse.
I just finesse thing.
So you have to bring down the whole of you.
He bring in the whole of you for it.
St. Lucians now have no reason not to come.
Exactly. That's right.
In addition to that, they don't have to ask me for pass. You know what I think?
Right, yes.
$10. Yeah.
Because when they're going to pick up their phone and call you for a pass, they're going to spend more than $10.
Exactly. Yes. And if they're going to take a bus to come and meet me, they're over there.
Exactly. All right, Mrs. Maxwell Verena, all the best there.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Bellas. Mr. Bellas is one of those persons who has always supported. Yes, as well, and he's worked on committees together. Mr. Bellas has done a great job for women's cricket as well in St. Lucia over the years. So,
But the tournament in Barbados, he was the
Mr. Bellas has done wonders with women's cricket here in St. Lucia. Yes.
So the teams
the fixture
in St. Lucia would be England, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, South Africa, and of course, mighty West Indies.
Yes. Definitely, we're looking at some of the fixtures on Saturday, November 10th at 2 p.m. England take on Sri Lanka. On Monday the 12th, we'll see
2 games.
England and Bangladesh. And that's at 4 o'clock, and at 8 p.m. Sri Lanka take on South Africa. On Wednesday 14th, Sri Lanka, they take on Bangladesh. And then at 8 p.m., West Indies, West Indies, Windies, they will take on South Africa. And Windies, they are in battle with South Africa right now in the one-day international. Did you guys...
They lost the first one, but I'm not sure. Well, they haven't played. They played the second one on the 19th, Verena. They played the second on the 19th.
Definitely. And then
but they'll come back, man. They'll bounce back. They're fighters.
Yeah, and then the Sunday, that's going to be a big one. On a Sunday, the 18th at 4 p.m., West Indies, they'll take on England.
16th, that is. 16th. Okay, Friday.
Friday is the 16th.
England versus South Africa.
But I was talking about the Sunday game.
The Sunday game.
At 4 p.m. West Indies will take on England. All right, guys. Last words from you guys. For St. Lucia, we've run out of time.
Well, just to encourage everybody. Everybody, come out, make it a party atmosphere at the Darren Sammy Stadium. All the days, as you said, $10. Come on, that's a steal. So I'm looking for full house at the Darren Sammy Stadium, full house, and they have no excuses why they can't come. Bring everybody, the children, the husbands, the wives, name them. Just bring them and come out and have a great time. Party atmosphere at the Darren Sammy.
That could be a reason to boost up the St. Lucia team.
The interest again in women's cricket here, yes.
Yeah, that might be.
Yes.
What tells us to that.
Come see wonderful cricket, great shots, excellent cricket.
Absolutely.
Support one and all.
Comparable or even better than what we see with our male counterparts. I can guarantee that.
All right, thank you very much, ladies, for being on our set tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, definitely.
It won't be the last.
It won't be the last. For sure, St. Lucia will continue to pretty much provide the information on this very, very exciting tournament. I look forward to it just so much. There are so many different aspects, so many different things that go in the organization of this tournament. And of course, we will be featuring different angles. We'll look at it from all angles for you, and we're going to bring it to you, guaranteed. DBS Sports for sure. All right, so thank you guys again for joining our set tonight. And of course, thank you, St. Lucia, for being patient with us and actually enjoying our show. Thank you guys. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the messages. We didn't get through some of them because I pretty much figured it would take us off the topic tonight, so I apologize for some of the messages we did not get to. But on behalf of our entire sports team, Kenson Casbury, do enjoy the rest of your night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.